This presentation is going to show the process of converting from Poa annua on Court18 to perennial ryegrass. Perennial ryegrass is going to have an increased ball bounce, a more consistent ball bounce, and ryegrass will also have less chemical inputs and less water inputs.
Well, here's the beginning of the project in April 2012. We're killing off the existing Poa annua with non-selective herbicide, making sure not to get it on the other courts.
The turf, immediately the next day started becoming chlorotic and started yellowing every day more and more, and the Poa annua continued to die.
How long did it take? We had to wait about a week, right, before we could seed per the label.
Right. So after a week we started seeding, but it's just getting more and more yellow.
Here we are scalping. We're trying to remove as much organic matter without disrupting the grade. It's also going to help with preparing our seed bed in addition to our aeration here. We also verticut maybe 10 times in 10 different directions.
Right,
to remove as much organic matter as you could.
And we're moving all that organic matter is built up from the Poa annua, which the Poa annua produced. So we're removing all that Poa annua organic matter to prepare for the perennial ryegrass, because we wanted to almost start fresh with bare soil.
The verticutting here, seen here too, also creates a lot of channels for seed to fall into, which then enables it to be protected.
We took all that organic matter away and composted it. So we're starting the seeding here. One of the most important parts of this project was picking the seed. So we went through the National Turfgrass Evaluation Program that tests new seeds, including ryegrass, for quality. Really hadn't been any testing specifically for tennis, but we picked the highest quality seeds that had worn well in other sports and had good color and lots of good attributes. So here the guys are seeding and using a broom to brush it into those cracks that Andrew was talking about that the verticutter made.
We also applied starter fertilizer to help with the seedling growth.
How many pounds of seed did we use? 5,000 square feet. Yes, about 50 pounds? 50 pounds of seed.
It's one whole bag, pretty much.
Yep.
We then rolled it to ensure we had seed to soil contact, and then watered it in. We also watered pretty much on a daily basis until we got to about this point.
So Nate, the germination was pretty quick, and how long would you say it was?
Less than a week it started coming up, and once it started growing, it was just, immediately just kept germinating. We had really good germination because the soil temperatures were really high early in the spring because of that early heat wave, so we had great growing temperatures.
That was Nate mowing it for the first time, and then the guys here are top dressing it by hand.
We just wanted to fill in any bare spots that didn't quite get good germination, and help fill any little depressions that were left over.
This is us setting up the court for the first time, marking the courts and putting in the posts. This is probably June 1st.
Yeah, around there. And a visit from Dr. Ebden and Jason Lanier from UMass. They were checking out the root length. And here's the first day it opened. Magnus and Larry using the court. They really liked the ball bounce. They enjoyed it. What do you guys think about their form? Larry looking a little old there.
I don't think they were used to the ball bouncing that high that day, so they had to adjust a little bit. But them being the professionals they are, they adjusted.
It's the end of the season in 2012. Now, 2013, we're widening the court by 6 feet so that it can be a doubles court. Last year it played only as a singles court.
We sod cut out that 6 feet, added soil, added seed, and then brushed it in. We used a different variety of ryegrass this time, called Fiesta 4.
That's right. It looks a little lighter colored.
Yep.
And we also had some infestation of the old Poa annua, and here's a little video from Andrew on that.
So, the ryegrass court, we applied Progress twice this spring. As you can see, the Poa is starting to die. Today, we're overseeding with new ryegrass variety. We're going to punch the little dimples into it and then overseed again to fill in these bare spots.
So we selectively killed any Poa annua that was in the ryegrass, and then we aerated it so that we could create a better seed bed to put more seed down to fill in those areas where we killed off the Poa annua. So here we are now in June 2013. We've killed off any Poa annua infestation that we've had, and new seed is growing. How would you guys compare the bounce on this court to the rest of the Poa annua courts?
I feel the bounce is, or I know the bounce is higher because there's no organic matter there, and the perennial ryegrass doesn't produce, hardly any organic matter. Also, it's more consistent because there's less organic matter,
and we don't have to water it as much, so that plays a big moisture management. It's a huge part of how a court plays.
The perennial ryegrass is much more drought tolerant, so we can keep the court drier.
So, Andrew, how would you compare it to when we have our absolute best courts at USTA events, the Poa annua courts? How would you compare this ryegrass court to that?
I would say it's equal, if not better.
On a consistent basis?
On a consistent daily basis, yeah. Mm-hmm. On an average day.
Wow.
For the ryegrass, it's as good as the peak of the Poa.
So far, would you guys say, I'm setting you up for the answer here, but would you say this has been a successful project?
Definitely.
Definitely a successful project, and I'd like to do more courts.
Thanks.
Go Bruins.